Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Head, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, and welcome back to the Baseball Head. Hopefully you like this video. Hit that subscribe button. We're in the beginning process of the off season. And, you learn a lot of stuff when your team is bad or you have a bad finish. And we learned some stuff. I came across this just in the last few minutes, and I thought it was interesting to talk about. This was on a live stream on YouTube. Former Met Adam Ottavino, who was a pain in the ass to watch when he pitched, because the guy was like a nervous Nelly. The bigger the game, the more he would walk the ballpark and get nervous and scared shitless. We saw in Game 2 against the NL wildcard game against wildcard series against the Padres. He was walking the ballpark in the ninth inning when Buck Showalter brought him in to finish out the game. It's also, of course, Jake DeGrom's final game as a Met on the mound. But the thing about Adam Ottavino, he does not have a lot of credibility if you're a fan of any team, because he drives you crazy. If you look on the surface, the numbers look fine. But if you pay attention closely, he was a guy that drove you crazy. Now, he didn't have any injuries. This is about injuries, this video. But it's a guy, he's a bit of a politician. He's a bit of a guy that he's let everybody know he wants to be in broadcasting. He's been on SNY. He's been on the MLB network. And I watched this live stream after he talked about this. I had the transcript here. He is boring to listen to. And he knows it. I saw that his channel's got over 8,000 subscribers. His subscriber base there is based just off of the resume. Because the way he sort of says this in this video, you would think he'd be fired up. I'm more energy than he does. He's Low Energy Adam. Low Energy Adam. I think that'd be his name. Low Energy Adam on the outside. And the inside, scared shitless about going into the ninth thing in a big game. But he was complaining about Carlos Mendoza, Mets manager. Now, on the one hand, he knows that Mendoza is very vulnerable, because Mendoza had his entire staff sent out of here. His whole entire coaching staff has been replaced. The Mets, and there's all kinds of talk, the Mets are considering making massive changes to the everyday lineup, to the pitching staff. They're going to get rid of as many people as they can. And we're going to have a very different team. They're going to have a team next year, but they're going to have a very different team. And so he knows that Mendoza is very vulnerable. He also knows the Met fans on bounds are very spastic and will feed off of this very well. Like I said, nobody watches this channel. I've seen the videos. He barely has 200 views. I get more views on here. And I haven't been doing that much here, to be honest with you. But he is he's not one of my favorite Mets. We'll leave it at that. But let me read you what he had to say about what happened this past year, and I'll sort of refute some of this nonsense. Quote, and then this is the other issue, and this is something that really upsets me deep in my soul. Now, this is without any feeling. He's doing this live stream by himself, and he's got no passion, nothing. Sort of like talking to a robot. One of these AI robots that Elon Musk has more passion than Adam Ottavino talking about this stuff. And this is the other issue, and this is something that really upsets me deep in my soul, because, man, I've talked with every single one of these guys about having to take control of their own career, because the team is not going to keep them healthy. They need to find a way to keep themselves healthy. Now, I'm going to read this. This is very interesting. Makes me wonder if some of the Met players have been complaining. And that also has a lot to do with a lot of stuff goes on in the clubhouse, and you wonder when players start doing this on a full scale level, that there's major problems in the clubhouse. And I think we kind of felt that happened. Megill goes down. I would mention about Tylor Megill. He will pitch well, then he gets hurt. Well, actually pitches well, doesn't pitch well, then he gets hurt. That's been his pattern since 2021, 22, 23, 20, his whole career. Reed Garrett goes down. Garrett got hurt for the last 2 years. Max Kranick goes down. Now, Kranick's had injuries in the past. Daniel Nunez goes down. Danny Young goes down. All Tommy Johns. Not to mention Drew Smith. Now, Drew Smith had all kinds of arm problems before Adam ever got here. Rayleigh had a Tommy John. It's just too many injuries. So they have to figure out something, whether it's their protocols, whether it's the way Carlos uses these dudes haphazardly, whether they even care about keeping the guys healthy or not. But they need to be better than this. Now, he from the sort of the inference as I'm reading this and as I watch this, he doesn't like Mendoza. I don't think he liked playing for him. This is embarrassing. This is actually pathetic, pathetic. I would never let this happen if I was on the team last year. At least half of these guys would have blown out. I would have protected these dudes myself. I would had to jump in front of them myself. Unfortunately, there was nobody willing to stand up and talk to Carlos this year. It was just me, I guess. So a little bit of an issue there. If they continue down this path, they're going to be F-U-C-K-E-D. Can't say the word. Fuck. It's just a word, Adam. Don't let anybody. He's trying to get he's trying to get a permanent job at MLB Network, because you cannot injure this many dudes every year. And hopefully this is an actual strategy, because it's freaking pathetic and it's not player friendly. And actually people will catch on. It's funny because they were bragging about keeping people healthy the year before when it had nothing to do with them. So yeah, I'm a little annoyed because, well, who's he saying that they kept healthy the year before? Was it him? You're not a doctor. This guy's not a doctor. What the hell is he talking about? Instead of, it's just the one thing I see, he still thinks he can play. So he's kind of saying this. He doesn't want to open the veil. He doesn't want to lift the veil. So he's kind of going sort of half measured. Well, who kept the players healthy last year? Was it him? Is he a doctor? Does he have his own medical table that he has the pitchers come on? Let me check your arm out. I don't know. I'm a little annoyed because there are guys that should be playing, so it pisses me off. What do you think caused that? It's a combination of things. There's not really any player education going on too much about how to stay healthy. There's a lot of pressure on a lot of guys to play even when they feel a little compromised. I know that from the inside. Now, what does that mean? Again, he's still trying to get a job in MLB as a player. So he's trying to sort of do it half-assed. He doesn't want to say exactly what happened. It's sort of this vagueness. We don't like that. We like people that are straightforward. And then look, the manager. I think he's a really good under the stress manager. I think he has no idea what he's doing when it comes to bullpen guys and how to keep them healthy or even how to care about them at all. There's no communication there. There's no feel there. There's no bedside manner when guys get hurt. I'm going to stop there before I get too fired up. He was basically as bloodless as you could get if he said this. But honestly, they could do so much better than this, and they need to do better. So I'm not going to sugarcoat that too much. They cannot be injuring this many pitchers, especially relief pitchers. There's no excuse for it. Spread it around a little bit in the first half, and maybe you won't blow through all these guys and have a total nosedive in the second half so nobody can get you any outs. And you're relying on a bunch of pitchers that you didn't want on your team, didn't want on your staff in the first place. Now, I want to mention something about Adam Ottavino. Adam, the Mets starters weren't going more than 4 or 5 innings. So the Mets had to go to these guys in the middle of the game. They had no choice. Okay, they had no choice. I'll also mention this. That Daniel Nunez was hurt at the end of 2024. Okay, as I recall. So these guys have all had injuries prior to Carlos Mendoza being here. Okay, that's for certain. Okay, but he doesn't know what the hell he either knows what he's talking about and doesn't want to take it further because he's thinking he wants to get another shot at the show, or he's just a complete total imbecile because you can't be spreading all this stuff around and think that there's not going to be any brushback. Now, most of the media, they'll talk about this, but they won't point out that one, his channel sucks. The audience on there don't really care. He's got 8,000 subscribers on there, but a lot of it's because of the resume. Okay, and that's the one thing about these ex-ball players, folks, is that 99% of them, if not Well, I'll say 95%. 95% don't have the ability to do this on their own. That's why a lot of them have partners. A lot of them have people that are basically the broadcaster. You know, look what's going on with Chris Rose. Chris Rose works for Talking, on the, I guess, John Boy. They hire him as the broadcaster. Adam Ottavino needs like a real broadcaster to work with the team with him, so they can bounce off things. But he has no talent as a broadcaster. Maybe he could be good. Who knows? But hard work. But he's just a guy shooting off. He's mad that he doesn't have a job. He only pitched 1 game for the Yankees this past, or 3 games, whatever it was, for the Yankees this past year. Okay? He's probably pissed off that he can't get a regular job in SNY. He's probably mad that he's not doing regular stuff on MLB Network. He's doing this YouTube channel. Nobody's watching it. And this is how it is. Now, I would mention, I don't care what I say. I'm not holding back. I mean, I would say this about his pitching in the postseason. He had 12 innings pitched in the postseason. He walked 10 batters. So in 12 innings, he pitched 10, walked 10 batters. In the 1 game that he pitched for the Mets in postseason in 2022, he pitched a 1 inning, struggled to get through that inning, gave a hit, 3 walks, and he gave a run. People were cursing. I was cursing him out to take him out of that game because he had no business going into that game. I mean, I knew his reputation with the Yankees about how poorly he pitched for the Yankees in postseason. On the outside, he's a stiff. On the inside, he's scared shitless of any big spot. And you can see this reading this. He won't say the F word. He has to spell it out. He's vague about some of what the players are obviously telling him. The players behind the scenes are telling him stuff. Now, if these players are telling him all this stuff that's going on behind the scenes, Mets should get rid of this whole entire bullpen. Get rid of all the guys. Every player that he mentioned in this thing, they should get rid of everybody. Okay? This is why you have bad teams, folks. Because when these people come in here and they can't get the job done, then they start complaining, start pointing fingers at this guy, that guy, and not taking accountability. And meanwhile, they're going back and telling their friend that they play with, what the hell is going on. And this is clearly what's going on. They don't like Mendoza, the players. This is the one thing that's good about when teams collapse, is you get to learn what the hell is going on behind the scenes. And this is telling me that the guys that are in that bullpen were complaining about how they were being treated. If you feel that way, go into the club, you go into the office and you tell the manager. Or you tell coach. You don't go back to Adam Ottavino and you go and tell him and start complaining to him months after the season's over. That's not right. And then meanwhile, you got Ottavino, who was in that clubhouse the year before, taking shots at the manager. I also would say I was not a happy person because he's a politician. He's one of these players that's a politician. You knew that he was going to go into the media once his career was over. And I was not a happy person that Stearns brought him back in 2024 because he had an opt-out. He took the opt-out and the Mets brought him back. They signed him to a new contract. It made 0 sense at the time. You let me know what you think about this video. I'm fired up. That guy's not fired up. Please. I'm going to get all fired up. Oh, please. And again, if the players are complaining like this, you don't want these guys in your clubhouse. If Megill's complaining, get him out of here. Danny Young's complaining, get him the hell out of here. Garrett complaining, get him the hell out of here. We don't need people like this that are on our team complaining and being all pissy about how they're pitching. And they're pitching poorly, Megill, before Tylor Megill got hurt again this past year, he pitched poorly. Which I said that was his pattern. I pitched great in April, rest of the year is up and down as crap. Garrett, same thing, up and down. The last 2 years prior to that, he was terrible in 2023. He was up and down in 2024, got hurt, same thing this year. We know the pattern of these players. We know the pattern. But Ottavino, basically defending them. Dude, are you retired or you're not retired? You lay all the cards out on the table, exactly what's going on in that clubhouse, or you don't get in the middle of it. You don't carry water for your friends. Well, thank you for watching this video. And of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut. Hopefully we'll keep an eye and see who else talks about this. I'm the only one to talk about it because I will take on the players. I don't care. I'm not going anywhere. I'll mention that. I've said that many times. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.